Going solar with 320 may cost you nothing down, but the work we do is not a $0 job. With a 10-year roof penetration warranty and solar panels guaranteed for 25 years, you can have peace of mind knowing we will do the job right every time without question. .320 Solar. Power up.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
Does it mean it isn't pulling on my heart till it's almost white? 'Cause I wanna let you feel strong.
Oh, everybody's pissed off, but too late now. We got to get ready for Carolina.
Evolution. Sports Talk Television live here nightly. All Bucs Report. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about on tonight's show. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Will you shut up and be quiet? We will not be quiet. Welcome to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television here live nightly on Bucs Report. It's the Sports Web live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Less than 2 hours getting you ready for Bucs versus the Panthers. And I got my co-host here, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay, Cup of Ray. Get that bad taste out of your mouth because the whole week story has been definitely the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their inability to stop anybody on defense, their inability to score points against the New Orleans Saints. Just got to get that feeling out. And, of course, a rematch with the Panthers. And there's already controversy. There's already breaking news that we're going to get to. We got the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions, It's Sports Mag. How you doing today?
Brother, I'm good. I'm ready.
All right, guys. I guess we had some tech issues there. I don't know what happened. I mean, the Wi-Fi is weird today. So welcome back. Sorry about that little tech issue, but we will back here on the Sports Web live from the Deck Bar and Grill. And as you were talking about here, getting you ready versus Bucs versus the Panthers. The breaking news, according to Ian Rappaport this morning, the Bucs have made a change on that offensive line. A.Q. Shipley, who played center with the Arizona Cardinals, is going to be your new starting center for right now. And Ryan Jensen is going to be your left guard. So already the Bucs making changes. Your thoughts on this?
Well, we knew when we signed Shipley that was a nice. We had Ryan Jensen at center, but we were talking about the depth, right? And now you got Shipley with the ability to move in there at center, and you get Jensen over there next to Donovan Smith. You know, I was making a narrative, and I think a lot of Buccaneer fans are making a narrative. We'd like to see Donovan Smith get a little attitude. Maybe if Coach Arians actually ties Ryan Jensen to Donovan Smith, maybe the three of them get like a three-legged race going with some attitude, and maybe get some holes open on that left side.
No, you're exactly right. Absolutely right here, and. Well, we'll see how that works out. We'll definitely see how it works out because Donovan Smith last night was not good. We got Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. We'll get the latest from him. He had a breakdown of Donovan Smith. I don't necessarily think it was all Donovan Smith. No. Honestly, it looked like it was Joe Haig, too, having problems.
Well, make no mistake about it. I mean, I'm not saying that this is a move they're making because they think this is their best alternative. It's obviously because with Marpet still in that concussion protocol, you have to make this move. They did what they did last week. They had no success whatsoever. So now they're mixing it up a little bit. But, sometimes guys get motivated. They get inspired. So we might see an offensive line inspired out there today.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. And, of course, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 as Leo Haggerty is right there. He is in. So let's go out to Leo Haggerty really quick, all the way from Charleston. Let's get him on. Welcome to the Evolution, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Peter. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, my friend. And, of course, we're talking about Bucs versus the Panthers. Already some breaking news today, but it kind of started last night when the Bucs were stuck on the tarmac for about, 5 or 6 hours. So do you think there's going to be any effect from that? And then let's talk about the breaking news from Ian Rappaport this morning with the offensive line, Mr. Leo.
Yeah, that's got to be the push the panic button card, because you never want to move two players. And we talked about this, Peter, before when Marpet went down. They tried to plug in one guy and not mess with the other four, but that didn't work. So they're going to have to move Jensen to guard. They're going to have to put in Shipley at center. Now you got two guys playing two different positions. So it's expect to see the same thing you saw last week. Expect to see Donovan Smith out there on an island. Expect to see some stunts, some twists, and let's hope the Bucs can pick them up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And do you feel like there's a better advantage there with having Ryan Jensen at the left guard with his physicality, being a road grader type of guard? They can open up that running game, because that's been the other big-time story. An 87-year-old record, Bucs, 5 rushes, including the one kneel down there. So they definitely got to establish the run. And they got an opportunity today, because this Panther defense up front, only 9 sacks, and it's not like they're stopping the run, although they did it last week versus the Chiefs. So do you think this is an advantage going forward for not only that pass protection, but, of course, that run game?
Oh, they've got to establish the run, Peter. If you're dimensional in this league, and we saw what happened last week when they were 3 and out, and then a interception. That was not good. So when you look at what's happening with the Buccaneers, I think by making this move, they're saying we are going to make a move to establish the run quickly.
Right. No, Leo, let me ask you something about last week's game. What was the most disappointing to you? Obviously, we're thinking the run on this end, but to you, what was the most disappointing takeaway you took from last Sunday night's game?
After the kickoff the game, I mean, it was terrible. The offense had no idea what they were doing. The defense had no answer. And again, Peter and I, we talked about this. You're going to have a clunker, maybe 2 during the year. Remember, the year the Bucs won the Super Bowl, they went out and got destroyed in Oakland. So again, there's going to be times where the other guys who are getting paid are going to do everything right, and you're going to do everything wrong. And that's just one of those games. So you just move on from it. Still 6-3. You're still a half a game behind the Saints, and you concentrate on trying to beat Carolina. And again, I think why they want to get that run game going is you don't want to go possession for possession with a team that doesn't have Christian McCaffrey. You want to try to hold the ball as much as possible, try and move the ball down the field, try and get some stops. You can get a touchdown or a 10-point lead, and now the run becomes important. The Bucs got behind so fast, so quick, and thank God for the fun. Or it could have been 38-0 at half. That was just one of those games. And Ira Kaufman had a great comment yesterday. He said, "Bruce, I know you want to burn the film. Yeah, you want to bury that thing. That's just something you want to share this, and let's get it out of our mind."
Absolutely. You have to get it out of your mind, because you have the Carolina Panthers. You have them on the road, and that was somewhat of a close game, fellas. And Welcome, Philip Schwegler, editor-in-chief of Bucs Report. We got Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web, live from the Deck Bar and Grill. The other big story this week was the usage of a Mike Evans. Do you think they get that handled? If you look back at the earlier on matchup, Evans had over 100 receiving yards. Could he do that today? Are they going to force feed him the ball? Is Tom Brady going to look his way? Or, in your opinion, is Tom Brady going to do what Tom Brady does and throw to the open man, whether it's Mike Evans or not?
You know what, Peter? I think you answered your own question. He finds the open man. And again, you're looking at a guy who is probably one of the best, if not the best, at pre-snap identification. He's going to be able to find that guy. Look for the Bucs to run a lot of empty. What I mean by that for your listeners and your viewers is that they're going to empty the backfield. They're going to put 5 receivers out. Look for him to bring the running back and see what the defense does. If someone runs back in with him, he's got him in man. And if he stays out there and just slides to the next guy, they're in zone. So again, that's a great pre-snap indicator of what's going on. And I really look for Brady to not have the game he had last week. In fact, there's been a lot made out that maybe they're Brady and Arians, because Arians came out and said he's got to make better decisions. Well, you know what? You're not going to coddle a 20-year-old veteran. He knows he played bad. You know, you don't have to sit there and figure it out. He did. You know, we knew that. He knew that. All right. And, you know, all Arians did was say, hey, he's got to make better decisions. Got to do a better job with the ball.
I'll tell you what, Leo, well, let's go ahead and cut it short because the Wi-Fi in your area is not that good. Let's go ahead and get your prediction from you, and then we'll get you on the post-game edition. You can call in, all right? Go ahead. What's your prediction? Bucs versus the Panthers.
Sounds like a plan. I look for the Bucs to win. It's going to be a lot closer. I look for Bridgewater to have a good game as well. I'm thinking around the side 27-21, 27-23 Buccaneers.
Okay. All right. Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, former coach, scout, and now media member. Thanks a lot for your time being a grandpa, the grandpa I never had there. I see your grandkids. So have fun, my friend. All right. Enjoy the game.
Yeah, I know. She was trying to sneak on there, and I told her, no, not till the end.
She's natural. There you go, buddy.
You guys have a good one. Go Bucs.
All right, there you go. Go Bucs. All right, so guys, let's come back here to the Deck Bar and Grill. Everybody can hear each other. We good?
I can't. Well, yeah, no, there I am. Hey,
okay,
I'm good.
well, there you go. You're good. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. We're all here together, getting that bad taste out of our mouths after the Bucs lose to the Saints. But, you know, Phil, your thoughts on the news that came down today from Ian Rappaport, where AQ Shipley is going to be the starting center, Ryan Jensen, the left guard. Big deal, right?
Yeah, you know, all comes down to continuity within the players themselves, especially the offensive line. So you have Ryan Jensen, who has played with Donovan Smith for several years now, and you threw a Joe Hagan there last week, who has really no, I guess you can call it chemistry with that left side of the line there. So I think putting AQ Shipley in there at center, pushing Ryan Jensen over there, kind of help out Donovan Smith a little bit, because we saw how bad that side of the line was last week against the Saints. I think it's a good move. I'm not sure if they actually practiced that way this week. I didn't see anything come out about that. I'm sure they did. I don't think they would make a move like that without actually practicing it and see what it looks like, see what it feels like. And of course, you know, Tom Brady needs to feel comfortable with Shipley there pulling center also. So I'm sure they did practice that this week.
I would say Tom Brady probably feels, although he likes having Ryan Jensen at center. And of course, we know that was the narrative, right? That Ryan Jensen has the ability to move. And when we signed Shipley, we're like, oh, that's a depth position for the center position. Yeah. So to have that. So I'm sure, like you said, that they may have not done it this week, but they've practiced it. But I would argue that because of that cluster we saw last Sunday night, that moving Jensen out next to Donovan Smith, hopefully that inspires him. And if it can give Tom Brady another half a second to a second to make that pass, then it ends up being a great move. I know it's not unprecedented and it's not something you want to have to do, but after last week's debacle, I'm willing to try anything.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's go out to the webheads here, read these comments. Oh, it's game day, says Deshaun. Tom Ferguson says, I wouldn't want to be the Panthers today. Bucs on a vengeance after last game. Eugene Thomas, the barbershop is fire. Absolutely. The DSS Daniela Styling Studio. Definitely get out there. We will have her on eventually. I promise you. Constance says LFG. Eugene Thomas again. What's up, guys from Buck? What you heard does a great job. Feel free to call in if you want a video one. Get the link. We'll get you on here. Let's go, Bucks. Let's go. Fred says establish the run, establish the run, establish the run. I mean, that's a big key today. And it goes back to that 87-year-old record with the Bucs, guys, only rushing 5 times, including the kneel down. So it's only 4. You've got to get it to your playmakers and the victim of a volume, and that would be Mr. Ronald Jones. And, of course, Leonard Fournette, who, when he last saw the Panthers, of course, had the closing out touchdown, 43 yards, and, of course, 100 rushing yards along with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, you definitely want a balanced offense today. You want to see the Buccaneers get back on track to what they were doing, a few weeks ago. That was actually being successful, putting up points against the Raiders, putting up points against the Packers, things like that. Definitely establishing that run is a big deal going against especially interdivision games like that. But I mean, not just in the sense that you have to have a run game, you have to establish that, but you can't have Tom Brady back there throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game.
Sure.
Especially when you have a Ronald Jones, you have a Leonard Fournette, guys who can take the pressure off a little bit. You definitely need to establish something a little bit early. Rushing 4 times a game is just ridiculous. I don't know how they came out of that game doing that, but that's crazy. I've never seen that before.
And let me tell you something. Davis filling in for McCaffrey. He's no slouch.
Yeah, Mike Davis is good.
Yeah, and also less of Teddy Bridgewater is going to be more for us because I if anything about Teddy Bridgewater, we saw him when he beat us last year, throwing four touchdowns for the Saints. We know this kid can throw the deep ball. He can lull you in with the screen passes, and if they get that running game going, make no bones about it. This is a divisional game. The Buccaneers are in their stadium, and they've got to come off the plane, setting up that attitude and dictating in terms of the game, or it's going to be a long day.
The other big story was Mike Evans and Tom Brady, that chemistry working out. Tom Brady had some comments this week. We'll get out to those in a moment. But are people making too much of a big deal about this? I mean, right now he's on pace for 800 receiving yards. We talked about in the offseason there could be an opportunity where Evans wouldn't get the 1,000 yards because there is a plethora, Leo Word, of weapons that he's going to go to. And Brady doesn't try to force the ball. But Coach Arians talked about it this week and said Mike was open. We just didn't give him the looks.
Well, look, guys, I said this before last week's game. Mike Evans had to average 78 yards per game the rest of the season. Even in that blow-up of a game last week, Evans still has 60 yards receiving. And I'm not looking at that as a positive. Getting Mike Evans to 1,000 yards for the 7th consecutive season, not on my radar.
No.
Buccaneers playoffs, maybe Super Bowl 55, all the other things in glitz and glamour, that definitely is on the Buccaneer radar. But let's just be honest. At the end of the day, Mike Evans doesn't have to do a whole lot more than what they did last week, and they basically did nothing to get that 1,000 yards. It can still be something that's on there. I think you see Tom Brady in the last week or two making that happen.
Yeah.
I think it just happens.
Mike Evans and Tom Brady chemistry.
Yeah, no, I agree. Real quick, the inactives have come out. It's only 4 guys on the active list. We have Ryan Griffin out, Keyshawn Vaughn, Ali Marpet, of course, and Khalil Davis. So those are your 4 inactives for today.
And then, of course, you had also Sorrell Grayson go on the COVID list.
And Jaden Mickens.
So could we see possibly Antonio Brown, right?
Why not?
Why not
go out there and hey, I'm back.
But going back to Evans, is it a big deal for you? I mean, is this a big deal? Do they get it worked out today versus, look, a susceptible Panther defense that is without a James Bradbury? You have Dante Jackson in the first matchup, had an interception, but he's not as good as Bradbury, according to PFF.
Yeah, I think Kurt Warner said it best on NFL Network earlier this week. It takes a long time, or not a long time, but it takes a while for the chemistry to build between a quarterback and a receiver, a quarterback and a center, a running back, blah, blah, blah. You can name whatever you want. So I think we're seeing right now that Mike Evans and Tom Brady just haven't actually clicked yet.
Yeah.
We say that, he knows that he can throw that back shoulder fade in the end zone to Rob Gronkowski. He knows it's going to be a touchdown every single time because he's done it so many times in the past. So I think this game might be a good game. The secondary in Carolina isn't as good as the Saints secondary, and we saw that back in week 2 how Tom Brady was able to move the ball down the field a little bit easier. So I possibly see with Antonio Brown on the field, Mike Evans gets a little more attention today.
Hey, guys, you know what I love? The narrative. Antonio Brown spends a cup of coffee and a half in New England last season, and everybody talks about AB's coming in and him and Tom have chemistry. Tom's been here in Tampa Bay practicing at Berkeley Prep with most of the receivers since March.
Mhm.
So it's just funny. And that's why I was saying this week, don't get so caught up in the fact that, and like Leo said, every team's going to have a clunker. It's just give it to the Bucs. The Buccaneers have a way of making their clunkers classics.
And also Brady has a history of this when he has a bad game, and he had one of his worst games of his career, if not his worst game in his career. So he's going to be extra motivated. Let's hear from Tom Brady here on the Evolution on Sports Talk Television and what he had to say about not only getting it to Evans, but working with the other players on this team on the sports web, powered by 320solar.com. Here we go. All right, having some tech issues today, so not able to find that audio, but basically in so many words, he said that he definitely, Mike is great at a lot of things, not just the 50-50 ball, but also he is great at, doing this and doing that. But he also mentioned, it was really interesting, trying to put all these components together, and it's just not working out. It wasn't working out, so it hasn't worked out yet. They basically, not only him joining the team, but everybody else trying to get accustomed, trying to get some chemistry. It's an important facet that we really have not taken into consideration.
Well, don't forget, and we're going to go back and talk about a very shortened preseason. We're going to talk about the fact that there were no preseason games. We're going to talk about the fact that in an offensive philosophy, any one of the 32 teams in their offensive philosophies, receivers have probably 2, if not 3 options on every route. So they're going to go inside if a defender's here. They're going to go outside if a defender's here. They're going to come short if the defender's long, vice versa. So just from that standpoint alone, we're now at the – and I'm not making excuses, guys. Last week, I'm going to go ahead and say it flat out. It sucked. I mean, we know that. I'm not going to put lipstick on that pig. But at the same time, we're just now getting to the 9th week, getting to the 10th week. This team, we're going to start. Mike Evans and Tom Brady have been able to do what they've done already, and they've had some they've had some nice success here and there. And it's based on the fact that they're both Pro Bowl caliber players. Now that they start getting that timing together, the philosophy starts coming to fruition, and then we start seeing that no risk it, no biscuit scoring machine.
All right, I found the audio here. We'll go back out to it. Stand by here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Here we go.
Mike does pretty much everything better than, nothing's 50-50 with Mike. Mike's better at just about everything than anybody. So he's a spectacular player. And I think, from my perspective, it's just me giving him opportunities to touch the ball and catch it and figuring out different ways based on different styles of defense that we're getting that enable him to touch it, because he's an incredible player when he gets it. And he's an incredible player before he gets it. So I'm working hard at it. And, again, I wish, I'd be making every throw the exactly the way I want. And the only thing I could say is just we're trying to get it right and trying to figure out how to get everybody involved and put together a lot of different pieces that have never been together, and including myself. It's not like I think the great advantage in football is continuity. I mean, that's it. I've learned a lot over the years. Continuity in the NFL is so important with coach, quarterback, what you're trying to be as a team. And, a lot of situations you're in over years and years, and, we haven't been in the reality. We haven't been in those together. I might have been in a lot of situations, and Byron's been in a lot of situations, and BA's been in a lot of situations. The receivers here have been in a lot of different situations, but we're just trying to make it happen together. And you're going up against other teams that have a lot of continuity, and that's the disadvantage. But we got to try to make up for it as best we can. And, we're going to, the only way I know how to do it is to work at it and to work even harder. Every day that goes by, you just got to work harder and never take the foot off the gas pedal, and then just make the improvements we got to make, and then go out there and compete. And if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. You got to do better. but there's no there's no there's no part of me that thinks, yeah, let's ease off. This is, let's not, work quite as hard today because we've been overworking. And I just think we get after it more.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's always a great soundbite when Tom Brady's on. That's why I'm trying to find it frantically here.
But I mean, was it any better when he said it? Because he said the same thing I said, only he's a lot better looking when he says it. So
there's a difference, and there's a continuity with this show. We're all together here. We've been all together for years. It's a continuity, and what people really didn't take into context is the fact of you don't have the preseason. I know we've talked about it ad nauseum. You don't have training camp. But when you have a new quarterback, it's basically running a new system, and you're trying to figure out, what system you want to run. Do you want to run Brady's system? Do you want to run Bruce Arians' system? Totally different systems. One, short passing, intermediate. The other wants to go down the field and take chances. You're incorporating wide receivers and Mike Evans, who necessarily hasn't been there because of a hamstring injury and because of missed practices, and Chris Godwin, and then you bring in Antonio Brown, and Gronk is not in shape. So there's so many combustible things there, moving parts, and you're like, what the heck? And still you're sitting at 6-3, so it's not a bad thing. I get it. You look for a better effort, but eventually, they're going to turn it around. They're going to turn this thing around because it is Tom Brady, and because you can hear it in his voice. And he wants to turn it around.
But again, you say turn it around. At 6-3, that turnaround isn't that. Doesn't have to be. It's not like we're talking about the Titanic. Look out for the iceberg. Make a quick right. We're talking about just continue moving steadily into that motion of continuity and get that offensive identity, guys. Get the offensive identity.
I think the biggest thing we really want to talk about is being consistent. Okay. We've seen how this offense can be when they're actually playing the way that they should be. I think they need to go back and play a little simple. Keep it simple, stupid, right? The old saying, KISS, right?
Right.
Keep it simple. You don't need to see all these bracketed receivers going out with the tight ends and the mid levels, and then the receivers out. Get Tom Brady into a rhythm. That's the biggest thing for any quarterback in any system, any sport, or any level of football, is you got to get that quarterback in rhythm. You got to get the center in rhythm. You got to get the offensive line in rhythm. That happens with medium throws, short throws. Then you can take a bomb here or there, but the run game working. You got to go back to the basics, keep it simple. I think that's what they need to do today against Carolina.
And what you're watching right now is the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with our editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwager, one of the best chefs out there. I know, a mean prime rib. We got to have that one of these days again.
The Bucs Report, we have Rick Hughes has What's Cooking in the South. We have the best chef in the Bay Area right here sitting next to us. We're covering the Bucs. We're covering it all. Harry the Greek's here now. Of course, we had Cup of Ray last night from Harry's front yard. So
that's the great pontificator right there, Mr. Tampa Bay.
Pontificator.
Yes, very nice. Leo word there. I'm full of it today. Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay Cup of Ray. Let's go out to one of our great shows here, one of our great hosts, one of my good buddies here, because look, if we don't have this guy, you don't have any laptop, you don't even have the evolution of Sports Talk Television, believe it or not. Mr. Gene Thomas, a Buck, which you heard, which can be seen and heard here on Thursday and Friday nights. And if he's not here, I'm going to put him through a table. Let's go out to you, Mr. Gene Thomas. Welcome to the evolution, getting you ready for Bucs versus Panthers. How do you see this matchup? Lots of controversy. The Bucs are stuck on the tarmac. You have offensive line changes. I mean,
COVID-19 protocols.
What's going on? What's next? Dogs and cats living together? Make some sense of this.
This where you get the character of the team. And if they can overcome this is what you're expecting to see. Our expectations are high right now. We want to see the Bucs in the playoffs. I think these are minor things that the Bucs can overcome. I went back and watched the game last week because I wanted to jump out of a window because it was just that bad. But there were just missed opportunities out there. The plays were set up, but they were missed opportunities. Players didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't make the catches. They didn't run the right routes. And I think this is something that's coachable, and you're able to clean this up. And I think that this game with the Carolina Panthers is a good start. And in preparing them for some of their tougher games, some of their more tougher games in this season.
Yeah, and the Bucs kind of get a break here, Gene, because you're not going to have Christian McCaffrey, but still you have a Mike Davis who's done a productive job there with them 435 rushing yards, a couple touchdowns. He also had a lot of catches in the first matchup. So, and then you have 3 dynamic wide receivers in the DJ Moore and a Curtis Samuel. And, of course, a Robbie Anderson, who has definitely been a surprise to them, the free agent they picked up from the Jets. So, once again, another tough matchup for this defense. And this defense has to play a lot better than they did versus the Saints in the last couple weeks. Even versus the Giants, they had a lot of coverage breakdowns, a lot of communication faults.
Yeah, when you look at the Bucs, their scheme is man-to-man, from what I can tell. And I saw a lot of soft zone coverage last week, which you have a first ballot Hall of Famer like Drew Brees. I would probably personally, I would probably attack him. I don't know. Again, I'm just a fan. I'm not I'm not a GM or anything like that. I don't know, but just when you give a first ballot Hall of Famer like that time to scan the field, he's going to make you pay, and we kind of saw that. But just kind of getting back to the Bucs and what they do best, we look at that Green Bay game. That's your blueprint on what works best for the Bucs. And keep in mind, Ali Marpet, we haven't mentioned his name until the injury, has been doing a rock-solid job, Pro Bowl caliber job this year, and you can see just how much you really miss him. So it'll be good to have him back healthy for the back end of the season. But today, the Bucs have to work with what they have and execute, make those plays, short yardage plays, move the chains, keep that offense on the field, and give your defense a chance to rest. And I think that is a good formula for winning this game.
Do you think there's any advantage at this point with having Ryan Jensen instead of a Joe Haig at the left guard spot and having AQ Shipley be the center, or could we see, once again, some communication problems with Brady and the center exchange?
Oh, man, that's kind of tough to call, to be honest. I haven't seen him play for years. I'm not sure, how he's going to fit into this offensive line. And when you bring somebody new in, you always run into the possibility that there could be some communication issues here and there. I think if everybody can stay healthy on that offensive line, it's good that these guys are getting snaps because they will be needed on down the line as we progress to the playoffs or try to make that fight for the playoffs. So
did you say playoffs? Hold on a sec.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me?
That's where my expectations are. When I talk about the Bucs, I'm talking about playoffs. I mean, it's long overdue. We've had a GM that's been building this team up for as long as he had. It's time to for all this stuff to pay dividends, and the Bucs we should be talking about the playoffs as fans. That's where our expectations should be.
No, I absolutely agree with you, and I could not believe all the fans jumping off the bandwagon. We're on with Gene Thomas from Buck. What you heard, just absolutely jumping off the bandwagon, thinking the season's over. They don't have enough depth. They've shown you on the offensive line they have some type of depth there, but it's like it's one game, guys. They lost to the Saints twice this year. They lost to Chicago. More than likely, they beat themselves on that, so it's not like they're done. The season isn't over.
Guys, you're talking to a guy here that I told you guys before on this show that I've actually got ingrained in my memory. My father, biggest Buccaneer fan I ever knew. My God,
you have a memory?
What was I saying? I watched my dad take off his Mike Ray Buccaneer jersey after the 70-80 season and go out in the backyard with the Zippo fluid and a lighter and burn it. Used to be it took the entire season for people to jump off ship. Just remember, we're dealing with a new age now of shortened attention spans, so people will be jumping on and off ship from week to week. Don't have a problem with that, but just don't act like one bad, terrible game a bad season does not make.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Gene. The big-time story also has been, look, the chemistry between Mike Evans, his statistics are not there. We kind of predicted that in the offseason. Any concern, and could you see Mike Evans going off today because Brady is looking his way, and should Brady look his way because possibly the defense could be looking the same way, much like Jameis Winston was looking for Mike Evans?
The NFL, or actually football in general, is the greatest team sport out there. To me, it's more about wins and losses. I would rather see this team with that W going to 7-3 as opposed to Mike Evans getting over 100 yards. That's just kind of how I'm looking at this season. And, I would like to see him do good. I'd like to see him get more targets. If he is open and he can help this team win, that's what you want. You want this team to win. You want to put this team in a position to win. you want to stress that defense that they're facing and give yourself other opportunities to get other players involved. So, yeah, I would love to see Mike Evans, because then, a defensive coordinator has to say, you know what, he's killing us here. So we need to change our game plan around, and that could open it up for someone else. So, if it works out for him that he does, I'm all for it if it leads to a win.
Now, Jaden Mickens is on the COVID list there. You also have Sorrell Grayson. So do you think there's a possibility we could see Mr. Antonio Brown returning some punts and possibly some kicks today? Could they do that? Could they bring that in there?
I could see that happening. I'd love to see that. The Bucs, that part of the special teams game has really been struggling, I would say, for the past 4 or 5 years or more, probably. They just haven't had anybody that is that guy that when he gets the ball, he's decisive. He knows where he wants to go. And we've seen other teams that get those kick returners, and you sit there and watch these guys running punts back for touchdowns or kicks back, and you're like, man, I wish we had that on this team. And so hopefully he could be the guy that fits the bill. I mean, he's trying to make his way back into the league and, be part of this team. And I think that, if it works, that would be great.
Hey, I was even thinking, guys, that even if Antonio Brown's just back there, and we've seen this, and Gene was alluding to this, when teams have had great kick returners, you'll see the actual punters and or kickers playing to the fact that they don't want them to get that return. So if it's making the Panthers kick the ball a little shorter or towards the sidelines and a safer play for us to take over the ball, I'm fine with that too. But let AB have it one time and give him a breath of fresh air, and that guy could be gone.
There you go. Hey, guys, real quick. Philip Swagler and Ray Kennedy, you guys are awesome. I've known you guys for a while, and I didn't get to say that off the bat, but you guys are awesome, and this is a really good show. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And
that's the pot calling the kettle black, brother, because your show is fantastic.
His show is absolutely fantastic. Buck, what you heard, go ahead and promote this show as you always do here on Thursday and Friday live on Bucs Report. Tell everybody about it if they don't know already.
Yeah, Buck, what you heard. I can want to say Bucs Report. Sponsored by Bucs Report. No, Buck, what you heard is a fan-centric show, very much like yours, Peter, only I drink beer and you don't. So,
well, that's because if I do that, I'm going to get drunk. So nobody wants to hear me get drunk.
I want fans to be comfortable enough to call in, listeners to call in. If you don't agree with me, I still want to hear from you. The one thing that I feel is missing in Tampa, especially sports media, is a voice for fans to get out and call in and get to say what they want to say and not be cut off because their opinion may be different than somebody else's. So that's the premise of my show. Again, I'm not a GM. I do watch film. I do try to make sure that I'm at least somewhat educated when I, talk about the Bucs. But at the same time, I do want to get everybody's thoughts. If you do have something you want to say, okay, yeah, cool, call on in. And just keep in mind, December's rolling around. We will be giving away a free T-shirt if you call to the caller that calls in and completes the hot seat questions, 10 questions, 1 minute. If you can get that done, we'll get you a free T-shirt from Smack Apparel. That's something we try to do once a month, working with Smack Apparel, and those guys are appreciated. So yeah, that's my show on both days. I have Christina Tampa Bay on with me on Friday, 7 p.m. And my guy KB Ken Barrett, he's on with me on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. So be sure to check those shows out again. It's a chance for you to get your voice heard.
Absolutely, and that's what we're all about here on Bucs Report, giving the fans the opportunity to say what they want to say about their favorite team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or any other NFL team out there, but especially the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What are some of the matchups you're looking forward to seeing today, and who are some of the players offensively and defensively that you could see basically having a big game versus the Panthers?
I could see Ronald Jones having a big game. I think that what's really hurt the Bucs is going away from him. I know he's had some miscues, but the guy is a legit runner. And we have seen that. And when he has been successful, the Bucs have really been successful with their whole offense. So I would love to see the Bucs get that running game going. If it's not Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, but somebody being able to move the ball on the ground. I'm sick of these 60-second offensive series. We can't have that. the Bucs need to move the ball down the field. They need to get first downs, and it's just so frustrating. I saw, I think it was like 3 different plays where the Bucs had the ball for like less than a minute, and they were 3 and out. You can't do that. I mean, you can't do that in the NFL. And this is something that they're really going to need to clean up when they end up facing the Kansas City Chiefs down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. You're exactly right. And, of course, the Panthers gave the Chiefs everything they would want. This is a team that's lost a lot of close games, in fact, 8 points or less. So what's your prediction going forward with this team, Bucs versus Panthers today? Who wins and why?
Well, I think that the Bucs, if they've cleaned up, and I want to say they have, I'm just going to go on the premise that they have done this. If the Bucs have cleaned up their miscues, players are catching the ball, players are running routes, quarterbacks and receivers, quarterback and running back, everybody's on the same page, and they're able to work in concert. That's a ACT word right there.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Leo word. Very good.
Yeah, if they're able to work in concert, I see the Bucs winning this game. I love what Carolina's doing in their rebuild. Matt Rule, Joe Brady is amazing. I think he'll end up being a head coach at some point just because of, how he calls the games. And I think if the Bucs can stay on course and their defense can get those turnovers or get 3 and outs, I can see the Bucs winning this game. And, 24-14 would probably be where I would have it at.
All right, I like it. There you go, Mr. Gene Thomas of Buck, what you heard here exclusively on Thursday and Friday nights on Bucs Report. Thanks a lot for your time, boss, all right?
You guys keep it going, man. You guys are doing great.
And by the way, if you don't get down here to Florida, I'm going to put your ass to a table, all right?
Go. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. All right, guys.
All right, buddy. See you later. There you go. Good stuff there, Gene Thomas, old friend, and he talks about it, and there's some matchups in this game. I'm looking at Shaq Barrett against this offensive line. You just see the left tackle, Okun, is going to be out of the game. Could that be possibly a way? Because we got his father watching right now, Steve Barrett, and I know he's a proud papa, and a lot of people say, well, Shaq's not getting it done because he doesn't necessarily have the numbers. But 34 quarterback pressures in the NFL, the sacks are not accumulating, but he's still getting pressure on the quarterback.
And
so I could see,
hitting that quarterback arm. His presence is still very much felt and known by every quarterback we're going against.
I think Carlton Davis owes him a couple lobster dinners at the end of the year. Oh, he had a couple interceptions off of a couple of those pressures that Shaq Barrett has done. He's doing his job. Okay, he's not hitting home.
Yeah,
but he's still manipulating the quarterback to do what the defense wants him to do, and I think that's really important.
Absolutely. All right, let's go out to the comments here. Read from these guys here. Anwar says, we have to run the ball to win the game. The victim of volume. I keep on saying it every friggin' game, and I feel like, it's becoming a thing here lately because you see the running game, and you're not getting the ball to Jones. You're not even getting the ball to Fournette, but especially at Jones, who Tampa Bay Ray has shown that he can definitely get it done when he's given the volume.
And guys, I want to make a drop here, and I want to know what your opinion is on this because I want to know if you agree with me.
What, are you dropping the mic or are you dropping yourself off?
I'm not dropping it, Deuce. What I'm saying is, okay, Allie, not like the Bucs did last Sunday.
You know what? Here's what you get for that.
But, hey, Marpick goes into the concussion protocol. Okay, we got a big change at offensive line. 4 rushes, a rushing attempt game does not make. You can't tell me that in 4 rushes over the course of 4 quarters while getting your asses handed to you, you were able to determine that this offensive line couldn't have opened a hole and let one of your running backs average 3 to 4, maybe 5 yards a carry. There was no reason for that last week. And the only reason why the run will work for the Bucs this week is because unlike the Chiefs, who have shorter, faster, speedier running backs, we have a bit more of a power rushing game, and we're going to need that rushing game going downfield to beat the Panthers today.
I mean, you have to establish some kind of run game. You can't just rely on the passing target.
Ronald Jones, you got to give him the ball. He had 3 straight 100-yard rushing performances. Am I missing something
4
here?
times, guys. They tried it 4 times. I think 3 were in the first quarter. Don't tell me you tried it.
Right.
It may be working now.
And that's why you have a Rob Gronkowski to push over to a side to assist the offensive line.
Correct.
They were down 21-0 before I can even pull my pants up and zip up from the bathroom. They had to establish something, and the passing game is what they had to establish in last week, and they can't do that today against the Carolina Panthers.
Show's really gone to the toilet here.
It is. It is. And by the way, I feel like the whole victim of volume thing. I think you say it at work. Do you say
I
that
do
work
say
on
it at
that?
work.
That's
I do,
right.
and I'll tell you why I say it
Peter
at
Blake
work.
is the victim of volume
Well,
on the.
you go from 229 sales, and I talked about this on Friday night one week, and you go from 219. The difference is that's 10 sales. I was 6 from getting my 4th bonus. So it's kind of disappointing. I did the best that I could, but I didn't get enough volume. So that check is not going to be high. And look, he's your paycheck player at that point.
Yes.
You got to give him the ball.
Yeah.
And I get it. You like Fournette. You like to move it around. But sometimes you got to go with one guy. And then if that guy wears out, and even if he is the hot hand, then you go with Fournette to close it out, much like you did in the earlier matchup.
Let me just finish that thought. Let me make myself clear as day.
Well, that'd be hard to do because I don't think you've ever seemed like you're clear.
There's a lot going on in here.
Ray's still stuck in the 70s.
I feel like you have sometimes occasional dementia, early stages of it.
Why's your arm on? Who are you?
No,
No, but what I'm saying is
exactly.
that you can't have 3 rushes in the first quarter and see something. And then guess what? In the third quarter, when the Saints have their ears pinned back like Doberman pincers and they're coming after Tom Brady, maybe we try that rush again on a nice slow draw or delay run just because they're not expecting it. Because, guys, by the third quarter last week, did any of us expect a rush?
You know what it was? It was a bad game plan. It was a bad idea to go into that game and do the things that they did on primetime TV on Sunday night against the Saints, a team they needed to beat to take control of the freaking NFC South. They just had a bad game plan. Like we were talking about earlier, go back to the basics, keep it simple.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Stephen Che of Barstool Sports had somewhat of a little bit of a breakdown today or this week about this Bucs offense and how much they struggled and how it was out of sorts. So let's go out to him. Let's see what he has coming up here on the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television, powered by 320solar.com. Enjoy.
All right, I want to look at one play on Sunday before we bury this film. I think it's a microcosm of the game. We got 10 personnel, 4 wides in a 2-by-2 formation. Brady in the shotgun with Leonard Fournette in the backfield. Brady's going to look at Godwin first, but then turn his attention to Antonio Brown. However, he sees the safety barreling down on AB. It appears these two have a good connection already as AB breaks to the end zone. He is open. Tom Brady sees him and then tries to roll back out and hit him, but he gets sacked in doing so. Let's take a look at the end zone copy. Brady looks to AB, but Donovan Smith, the left tackle, is blocking for a pocket passer with a quick release. Typically, Brady would step up here and deliver the ball, but he and AB are thinking one thing, and the rest of the line is not on the same page. Just some early kinks with guys who clearly have not practiced altogether a lot. This will get resolved with more reps.
And that's what it comes down to. Welcome back to the evolution of sports talk television, live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with our editor-in-chief of Bucs Report, Mr. Philip Schwegler. And, of course, Harry the Greek here, who's
that's not Ray?
No, that's not Ray Kennedy. No, he did not age overnight there. I'm so sorry.
It's funny watching old guys called old guys old. I'm just saying.
Will you shut up and be quiet? How about this right here? This is what I think about you. All right.
Give it to him again.
Let's go back to that. We want to do it again. All right, I'll do it again. There you go. I like that.
Love that.
Okay, so we're going out to it here. We watched the breakdown from Stephen Che of Barstool Sports. He talked about the offense being out of sorts. Brady trying to go to Brown. He was open, but the offensive line's not giving it to him, giving him the time. Brown, 3 catches for 31 yards. They really tried to incorporate him into this offense, maybe at the fault of Mike Evans. Do you have any worries about this offense going forward with trying to incorporate Brown in it and Evans and Godwin, or do you think eventually they're going to get it together? And, of course, it starts with that offensive line, right?
Without question, Peter. I mean, absolutely without question. I've been talking about this for actually 2 weeks now. You got to run the football first.
Sure.
I mean, you have a lot of stars on this offense. And, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans. It doesn't make a difference.
Right.
You're not going to get the ball to him because there's a blueprint on playing this offense right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the blueprint is don't blitz that much and keep everything in front of you.
Exactly.
So how do you stop that? You run the football.
Right. You have to run the football to take the pressure off, and it makes it absolutely makes your offense more balanced, and it also makes that defense basically account for it.
Without question. I think today you're going to see a little bit of a Buccaneer offense. I think they're going to get off the bus running the football today.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they have some serious they have some serious coaching issues.
In your opinion, who is it's going to get the most of the load of carries today? Is it going to be a Ronald Jones or is it going to be a Leonard Fournette?
It's definitely going to be Rojo.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be Rojo today.
Okay.
I mean, they have to continue to ride them as a bell cow that he is. I mean, he's not as good out of the backfield catching the ball.
Right.
But when he was hurt, he had 3 consecutive 100-yard games.
Mm-hmm.
You can't overlook that. And they were against pretty decent defenses.
Agree.
And they were able to pass the ball when it happened. I mean,
Absolutely.
Go back to the Green Bay game. What happened?
Oh yeah, I mean
They ran the ball.
ran the ball, and they're still focusing, and we've seen these shots here of Mike Evans being focused on. Are they making too much? Is the media making too much of a big deal about it? Even Coach Arians talked about it this week, where Brady was trying to go to him or didn't go to him. He had the looks, he was open. So is this going to become one of those things where we're going to have to watch it, or is it going to all work itself out eventually?
I think it's all going to work itself out, but I think Bruce Arians needs to hold himself a little bit more accountable for the play calling that's going on.
Right.
Because nobody really knows who's calling these plays. Is it Leftwich? Is it Bruce Arians? Is it Tom Brady having the power to audible in the at the line of scrimmage? And I haven't seen too much of the audible.
Is that the problem? Because there's so many philosophies here, guys, and you can get in here, Philip, our editor-in-chief of Bucs Report. You have Brady come in. He wants to run a New England offense. He's what we're basically told in the offseason that basically he has some input into how this offense is going to run. He's going to run some of his philosophy. They're going to try to mesh it well together. Is it not working out because they're trying to do too much?
I think they're actually trying to do too much, and I think they need to simplify it. Football, when it originally started, they ran the football.
Yeah.
The forward pass came out when in 1930, 1940?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, you really think about it, but
Right.
football controls the change.
Right.
You can have so much success for running the football. And when you have an offensive line, and especially on the right side of the line, they're a little bit hurt.
Right.
What you want to do is give them some confidence.
Yeah.
And if you get that push up the middle,
Yeah.
and run that football, you're going to drop those safeties into the box, and now you're going to have Mike Evans open. You can't double team everybody. Look for a big game today with Mike Evans, but it's going to go through the running game first.
Do you like Ryan Jensen being shifted over to the left guard because he has that
No.
physicality and that mean streak, or would
No.
you have left Joe Haig and Jensen at the center spot?
I would have left the line the way it was. There's a reason why he's not playing that other position.
Interesting point. What do you think? I mean, the philosophies here, are there's not enough meshing going on, and we're looking at the Saints thing. We got to get to this because according to ESPN, with all that celebrating, eating a W, all that celebrating and dancing in the locker room, the Saints may have cost them some draft picks and some money. And I got to say, I love it. I love the whole thing. I hated the whole eating the W thing. We'll talk about that in a moment. But getting back to it, are they trying to mesh too many styles with Brady and Arians and Leftwich? Should they just go with one style and kind of adapt off of that?
Something I noticed, especially last week, is something wasn't working, and they kept going to it. Like they wanted it to just magically just start working.
Right.
Like, oh, crap. there it
Expecting
goes.
different results.
Exactly.
Doing the same thing. What's that called, Phil?
I don't know. I can't say
Insanity.
Yeah.
That's insanity. That's what it is.
I was
That's what
gonna
it
call
comes
something
down
else,
to.
but
Right.
yeah. And that's the thing. You saw all these long developing plays that they were trying to run on offense, letting Tom Brady sit back there, 5 to 7 foot drop backs or whatever, holding the ball for too long. He had a couple coverage sacks. You got to get in rhythm. I said this like 20 minutes ago, get in a rhythm. Build some throws within the offense that Tom Brady can start to feel a little more confident in what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
And as far as, having the input and what plays they want to call and whatnot, give Tom Brady a little bit of freedom on the field. He's done this for 20 years.
Yeah.
He knows what he's looking at, okay? Byron Leftwich, as long as he's been, calling plays, been an offensive coordinator, play quarterback, whatever, Tom Brady's done it at a higher level, at a more successful state or sustained
6 Super
reign.
Bowls,
Like-
9 playoff appearances.
That's what I'm
Hello,
saying.
let the guy call his offense
let
and work
him-
around
yeah.
your weapons.
What are we
Exactly.
talking about? Building confidence.
Right.
We're talking about Tom Brady here.
Right.
Well, we're
It's
talking
Tom
about building
Brady.
confidence
This
as an
isn't-
offense as a whole.
This isn't a player issue.
Right.
It's not.
It's a
not.
coaching
It's
issue.
a coaching issue.
It's a coaching issue.
And they're going to get it right today. It's I'd rather have this team win ugly right now
Mhm.
than score 48 points and lose.
So you don't think it's a blowout?
No.
Because see, I kind of think
absolutely not.
it's going to be a blowout, and I'll tell you why. The Panthers have played a lot of close games because of the history of Tom Brady and having that chip on his shoulder. You almost feel like they're going to do everything they can to prove a point and make a point. And when Tom Brady, as a competitor that he is, as strong as a competitor as he is, when he wants to make a point, look out.
Without question.
But you still think it's going to be close?
I still think the game is going to be close.
I haven't convinced you.
I'm a gambler for 30 years. I could be wrong.
I need to talk to you. We need to talk. We need to We need to conversate a little bit. I'm playing a fool right now. I'm doing okay, but I need to do better. So I need to talk to Harry the Greek.
You got to give my buddy his breakfast sandwich you lost first.
I already did that.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. I gave him. He's a liar. I got it from him today. So we're on with Harry the Greek here. I'm your host, Peter Blake. If I could talk, hoist. Yes, hoist me out of here. You shut up. And we got Philip Schwagler, our editor-in-chief of Bucs Report. Open phone line if you guys want to talk about this matchup. Key players.
Awake right now.
I really don't. I don't even think we were awake this morning. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. You know, the key to this, Phil, is the fact of the Panthers defense, they're not really good up front. 9 sacks, that may be an advantage to this Bucs team, although they have some talent there. Derek Brown in the middle. Of course, Brian Burns out of Florida State. You know him all too well. So kind of talk about that matchup and how it kind of favors the Bucs going into this game, right?
Well, I mean, I think it favors the Bucs only in the sense if you can actually win the line of scrimmage today. We've seen against the Saints how the pocket was manipulated so much because that offensive line got so much pushback from the Saints defensive line. They got to hold strong up front. They got to keep that line where it's at. They have to keep Tom Brady in the pocket, keep him upright. And I think the biggest player to watch out for is Brian Burns. He's definitely a crazy guy off the edge. You watch him play. He's just the way he manipulates his bodies and some of the moves that he puts on the right or left tackles is kind of astonishing. We saw it a lot at Florida State, of course.
Sure.
Watching him for a few years there, but definitely you got to win that matchup there on that offensive line. And we're not talking about Florida State anymore because
right. We won't talk
Florida
about that.
who?
It's Florida exactly.
You meant the Gators.
And look, they've been successful and they absolutely have the best team in the state right now. And it's because of their quarterback situation. It's because of the coaching situation with the Dan Muller. That's neither here nor there. He's definitely developed that team. They have an opportunity. With that being said, of course, always going back to your quarterback with the Tom Brady, it's all about the time up front. He didn't get that versus the Saints. In fact, Trey Hendrickson looked like the next coming of Reggie White or Bryce Pop. Right, exactly. Hendrickson. Who the hell is that? But he made himself look like a Pro Bowler. He's done that versus a Donovan Smith. In your opinion, do you think with the changes this offensive line has made, is this going to favor the Bucs going against the Panthers, especially with the Panthers coming in with only 9 sacks?
Great question. And I will say this, they need to have a little bit – they need to keep the tight ends in the game and keep the running back in there to chip.
Right.
That means don't run 3, 4, and 5 wide receiver sets at all times.
Sure.
I mean, you have stud wide receivers. You got great tight ends.
Yeah.
Why be so predictable?
Well, you're true. You're exactly right. And you look at Travis Kelce last week, over 100 receiving yards. I get it. He's one of the best tight ends in the league. But that may lead to a Rob Gronkowski sighting. He was nowhere to be found versus the Saints. Possibly he could get off today. Maybe a Cameron Brate, who's been the man on the milk carton because Shaq Thompson is not that great in coverage. So maybe that's a matchup to look at. I tell you what, let's go out to Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, who has the winning angle on the other side of the ball, what the Bucs should be watching for defensively versus this Panthers offense on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Join the 67,000 following we got here on Facebook, of course, live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and that Bucs Report Twitch channel sometimes gives me a convulsion because there's not many views to it. Let's go out to Blake Anthony.
It gives you a twitch. Sorry, it gives you a twitch, right? That's what you meant to say.
I said convulsion. I was joking around.
It was funnier if you said twitch.
Okay, whatever.
I think it was just
Let me handle the joke.
Thank you.
Let me handle the joke.
Will you shut up and be quiet? All right, let's go out to Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49 here on The Evolution. Enjoy.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a Week 10 edition of The Winning Angle with none other than Blake Anthony himself from Sports Talk 49. Can be seen and heard on Bucs Report every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Today, we're going to be talking about the Bucs versus the Panthers. Bucs going on the road, looking to avenge a terrible loss to their division rival, the Saints, last week. So here's the tape. Check it out. The return of Christian McCaffrey has changed this offense tremendously. It is more dynamic and more lethal. And don't sleep on running back Mike Davis either out of South Carolina, number 28. They're all just as dangerous, both running and receiving. You're going to see this formation a lot with Samuels and Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. Why? Because they'll both carry the ball and catch the ball out of the backfield. Let's see what the Panthers do in this situation. They said McCaffrey in motion, see what flows that way, and then they have the ability to run a counter back the other way. But this time they get McCaffrey in space and get about a 7-yard gain out of that. They could have handed that off, but they decided not to. They probably will come back to that later on in the game, depending on how the Chiefs play that from time to time. Buccaneers need to see the same thing. See the influence of the run. You get linebackers flowing away, and it creates lanes for the running back. So let's look at this next play. 3rd and 7 with 7:27 in the quarter. Let's see what the Panthers come out in. They come out of a 3 wide receiver set. Roby Anderson is all the way to the outside. Got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. Devin White is all too familiar, and Levante Davis is familiar with Christian McCaffrey and how slippery he is coming out of the backfield. Now, everything is an illusion in this offense, and these guys are so fast that if you lose sight and don't stay disciplined, you will lose your guy in coverage, and he will go in for a touchdown. Here they use clear-out routes and goes McCaffrey in the flats, and they throw an underneath pass. Now, the reason I show that is because the Saints ran something similar last week at Sunday night against the Buccaneers. Don't think they won't watch the tape and find out what worked against the Bucs in that matchup and come back to use that against the Bucs. We'll bring that back up later. Remember the bunch I told you about before? Same thing. They used a bunch, slipped McCaffrey out instead of pass blocking. Linebacker is unable to get, or defensive back Matthews is unable to get the McCaffrey out in there because of the traffic. Because of that play creates a natural pick. All these guys in the box, when they see man coverage, they're going to go to Christian McCaffrey in the back because they know they have a natural pick with the wide receivers. Here we are again down in the red zone, something else. You got a trips bunch formation. Please know that somebody's coming in motion. They give the jet sweep. They get the matchup. Remember I told you about natural picks? Here's natural picks here. Everybody gets washed down by one guy, creating a wall of traffic, and guys are running into each other. And it's an easy run-in touchdown by Curtis Samuel. Here's again for another angle. It's why I show you guys earlier plays, because they set them up for later. They got Mike Davis out lead blocking. Looks like Jonathan Stewart from back in the day, doesn't it? All he's got to do is got the good angle and just cut the defender off. And Samuels has the speed to beat the guy to the edge, and it's a touchdown. Now, I bring this up from what I showed you earlier. They run this all the way out. They watch tape on Jamil Dean against the Giants. All 3 defenders are staring at the back in the backfield. Don't think they won't use Curtis Samuel or Christian McCaffrey on this play and try the same thing on the Buccaneers. That's all I got for you guys, and I hope you enjoy this edition of The Winning Angle.
All right, there you go. Blake Anthony from Sports Talk 49, which can be heard and seen here on Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock on Bucs Report. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol, along with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay, and a great breakdown once again. And the Panthers on offense are so dynamic. You have a DJ Moore who can run, who's fast, who picked apart the Bucs in the first meeting, over 100 receiving yards. You also have a Robbie Anderson. You have a Curtis Samuel, who they use him in multiple positions as a running back, as a slot guy. So the Bucs, again, have their work cut out for them, especially in that back end defensively. And Carlton Davis with the injury this week, these other guys have to step up, namely a Jamel Dean and a Sean Murphy-Bunting.
And right. Make no mistake about it. Everything that defense on the back end is going to do is predicated upon that pressure the defensive front has to put on quarterback. And Teddy Bridgewater is not to be messed around. And it's not just because he played behind Drew Brees and under Sean Payton last year, which just happens to be the team we saw last weekend. But we need to see him applying that pressure up front again today, because even though we're still seeing a maturing secondary, we're still talking about a rookie in Winfield. We're still talking about second and third year guys that really, they're still building that cohesiveness that we're talking about the rest of the team didn't get this year with a new quarterback. We got to have that pressure.
Absolutely. Got to have that pressure up front. Shaq's going to have an opportunity. JPP, who leads the team in sacks, he's going to have the opportunity. Devin White, once again, another sack last week, an unbelievable game, one of the bright spots in that game and has been the bright spot the last couple weeks, and he's an upcoming superstar. Tell you what, let's go out to our web heads here, read these comments. Guys, open phone line. If you want to call up and say something, I don't know, say that you're awake, say you're here, say you're watching the evolution of sports talk television, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. So let's go out to Milo. Let's see how Jensen does at guard and AJ at center. Mike says this game will be close. Chris says, what is Antonio Brown's role today? I mean, that's the key. We have the dude on. We'll get the dude back in here. I know he wants to say some things. I mean, 39 snaps last week, 3 catches, 31 yards. There were some looks there, but unfortunately, because Brady was feeling the pressure, he wasn't able to get the ball to him.
I want to see another wide receiver in the NFL that bounces back up with the spring that Antonio Brown has in his step. A veteran, and as many teams or games or years he's played, you still see him. He jumps back up with the reflexes of a cat.
And I tell you right now, Stephen Shea of Barstool Sports mentioned this. They were kind of using Antonio Brown much like the Panthers used Curtis Samuel in the backfield as a running back. And this is what Blake Anthony was talking about a couple weeks ago in order to free up some of your wide receivers, namely on Mike Evans, to use them in different situations so you can pose that mismatch nightmare. That possibly could happen today with Brown, and I think that's an advantage to the Bucs if, once again, a big-time if, you can give him the time, and you should be able to. Let's go out to the dude here. We'll read the rest of these comments in a moment. Dude, welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. Bucs versus Panthers. Your thoughts?
Peter. How are we doing today, guys?
It's a crazy look there, dude. I'm not sure if I'm feeling that picture. It's kind of freaking me out, bro.
Well, I had a lot of caffeine this morning, and I'm ready to go. Buccaneers blowout today, 34-17, brother. Want to throw a little knowledge in here about the move of Jensen to left guard and A.Q. Shipley playing center. Now, real quick, while I tell you this, what does AQ stand for? Anyway, AQ. I know, me either. AQ Shipley, according to Jenna Lane, did do the reps with Tom Brady this week, while Ollie Marpet got his reps with backup Blaine Gabbert. So they knew they were going to do this.
Wow. So they must have been very, very upset with Joe Haig and his play. And we'll go to the breakdown of what Blake did with Donovan Smith, because as we thought, we saw Donovan Smith being beat a couple times there, but it necessarily wasn't all Donovan Smith. It looks like it was Joe Haig. And the proof is in the pudding at this point, because now you see Jensen starting at the left guard. In your opinion, is this an advantage to the Bucs? Because it seems like Jensen is more physical at the point of attack. Maybe you can get that running game going, and he's also been very good in pass protection. Is this an advantage today against the Panthers?
It's definitely an advantage. At least that's how I see it. The question I wanted to ask Ray, because is it Ray or is it Harry on screen? I can't see. Because
it's Tampa Bay Ray, yes.
Tampa Bay Ray, buddy, you're not smiling enough. Did that 2.5 hour show last night wear you out, buddy?
Oh, I was ready to go 3.5 hours. Harry the Greek and I could have carried that thing, and we're gonna actually be making some more plans for the future. So no, we loved it. I could have went all night. I could have went all night long.
Oh geez.
Okay. Oh geez. And I know we all know and love the fact that our editor in chief Philip Schwegler is short, but could we get him a booster seat? I can barely see him.
Oh, but that's because he's
sit up straight.
Hey Phil, what are you doing?
He
he's
is.
silent. There you go. What are you doing? Would you stop? What am I, Tickle Me Elmo here? Get out of here. All right, we got Philip Schwegler, editor-in-chief, one of the best chefs I know. We're on with the dude here. So, yeah, go ahead and finish your thought, bud.
Well, I was just saying, first of all, hey, welcome back, Philip. Now you know why I didn't answer the phone. Look for the according to the Fox pregame show. The Buccaneers are angry and mad about last week. Rawr! So look for the Buccaneers to come out fast, aggressive, and hopefully jump to a lead here, and then they can unleash that front seven that has made so much hay in the past. That said, I haven't heard enough from Mr. Schwegler, and now that we got him sitting up straight, we can see him on camera. What do you guys think? Schwegler, what's the score today?
Score today, I think it's going to be kind of close here. I'm gonna call it 28-21 Buccaneers on that.
Wow, he's going close on that. So 28-21. I'm kind of differing on that, but I'm going to save we're supposed to save our predictions for the end of the show.
My boss asked me a question. I got to answer it, right?
He's the dude.
Oh, real quick, everybody watching, 727-255-0391.
Yes.
Call in. Don't be scared. It's a phone. Pick it up, dial it, give us your opinion, and we'll tell you whether you're stupid or not. Shout out to 320 Solar. Shout out to Guerrilla Marketing, Fast Track Cannabis Card. Especially shout out to the wonderful Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. Great job today, guys. I just wanted to pop in and let you guys know that AQ, which you guys still haven't given me the name. What does AQ stand for? I don't know. I'm asking.
A question. A question.
In the comment section down there, everybody, let us know what you think AQ and AQ Shipley's name stands for.
I got it.
Wrong answers only. The dude's going to check out. Great job, guys. I'm going to go eat some high quality food and watch the Buccaneers win 34-17.
All right, there you go. 34-17, the dude. I think it's Aquarius. Speaking of singing, AQ, what's it stand for?
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
You got to take off that mask, Cedric. Cedric Robinson here. I get it. I can't hear you. Got to get close to that mic here.
Okay, I'm going to take the mask off, but
Okay.
I'm trying to follow all the COVID restrictions.
Oh,
stuff right now.
we've got you all covered up here. We got Cedric Robinson, the GM here of the Deck Bar and Grill. What do you got going on today? Specials. And by the way, happy birthday.
Oh man, you got to put me on blast on birthday today. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We made it through another year.
Yes, sir.
2020. If I would have known what was going to happen when I was 6 years old and said, hey, in the year 2020, I should be in a flying car. Right? And teleporters, just like on Star Trek, should be a real thing at this time.
Right.
It is not.
No.
Just COVID and other stuff.
Just COVID. It's just a pandemic, COVID, everybody going crazy.
Any of this.
Yes.
Any of this. But today at the Deck, man, we hope you guys come out. We got a 1 o'clock Bucs game. And it's going to be excellent. We always look forward to our Bucs fans coming out and enjoying the Deck and enjoying the Sports Web and the Bucs Report. So today, I'm going to do a magic trick. You ready? Right from behind, Mr. Peter Kennedy. Today,
Peter Blake?
Peter Blake and Ray Kennedy.
Yes,
Sorry about that.
that's
Mr.
all right.
Blake.
Peter Kennedy will.
He is going to produce this. The wonderful.
Oh, look at that.
Levante David authentic NFL jersey will be given away at the halftime of the Bucs game.
Nice.
Today.
We will have him on here. We'll try to get somebody up here who wins it, get them to say what they want to say. So there you go. Levante David, who's definitely played well this year, fellas.
Plays well every year.
He really does. A very underrated player. So there you go. That's what you get when you come down to the Deck Bar and Grill. Great food, great service in Isla del Sol, and of course, home of the evolution of sports talk television, powered by 320solar.com. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Cedric Robinson, GM of the Deck Bar and Grill. Of course, Mr. Philip Schwegler, our editor-in-chief, one of the best chefs I know out there. Of course, I don't know many chefs because usually I'm cooking in my air fryer. Just saying. All right, so you're going to give me a prediction quickly? Who's some of the guys you think are going to go off today? Is it Mike Evans' day to go off finally?
I want to really see a running game implemented, like you guys were talking about, 5 rushes. Not enough.
Pitiful.
Not enough in NFL.
Pitiful.
Fournette, hopefully, if healthy enough, can make that play action a little bit more exciting for us. Mike Evans, we definitely want to see him get more touches today. But overall, just the team spirit, just the team morale, and just to get out there, get a lead and hold it. We don't want to see that debacle of last.
Get that bad taste out of your mouth.
Absolutely.
But you're never going to have that bad taste here at the Deck Bar and Grill. The wings are excellent. The hamburgers, cheeseburgers. You got spaghetti coming up on Monday night. I'm coming to get that $5.99 against the Rams. You ready for that?
I'm ready.
All right. Spaghetti and meatballs, $5.99. I mean, what else do you suggest here?
So today, you want to bring your girl out and she's like, I don't really want to sit around and watch football all day. Well, let her know. We have $3 Bloody Marys all day long.
Wow.
$5 mimosas. Get some champagne, some bubbly going. And then we also have a $6 champagne float that's made with fresh raspberry sherbet and fresh raspberries.
Set the mood, my friend.
Let me get around.
Yeah, I'm telling you. We are going to need a round after listening to Ray Kennedy sometimes talk here.
So you sit back, you knock out a bucket of beers, $14 for Bud, a Bud Light. Try any one of our tailgate special baskets. That's a quarter-pound hot dog. That's an 8-ounce burger. That's 3 nice pork ribs that we dry season and rub, and that's all in a basket, and that's only $8.99. So
yeah,
we want to make sure you can afford a Sunday, you can enjoy the game, and you leave here with a full stomach and a win. That's the main.
Yes, win. Absolutely.
Belly is
win,
full and a happy day.
Win. Good stuff, Cedric. Appreciate you, buddy. All right. All right. So he's going to be on with us here in a little bit after halftime show, giving away this great Levante David authentic NFL, authentic jersey. Even though it's the alarm clock numbers, we're going to work it out. But still, it's Levante David. That's a legend right now. If you're a Bucs fan, let's go out to the webheads, read some of these comments here. And we'll get back to it. So, Antonio Brown, what did you think about Antonio Brown's role last week? 39 snaps, only 3 catches, but there were some looks there. You could see there's some potential, flashes of brilliance there if they can get him the ball and get that time. That's what they need to do is get that time for Brady.
Absolute potential. We know what Antonio Brown is capable of. But when you see the number of touches that Mike Evans got, you see the score, 3 points, barely any first downs. It's definitely not indicative of what the team can do.
Sure.
And his first outing, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on him for that week's play, mainly because the whole team, stunk the entire time. So we'll see what happens this week. Coming in with a little bit more confidence, probably a better game plan for Antonio after being in for 2 or 3 weeks at this time. And I expect a much better performance by our offense today with all those weapons that we have.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, let's go back out to the webheads here, read some more comments. AR says to get open. Robert says, let's run the ball 6 times today. Laugh out loud. Just kidding. Robert again. You wise guy, you. Bridgewater had opportunities against us in week 2. Visit. He just missed them. We can't let him have those opportunities. Chris Rogers says, does Brown get more involved today? I think they could, but I still think Evans is going to have a big game just because it's always been talked about, and you feel like they're going to concentrate on it. What I'm kind of fearing is if you try to force feed it, does it become a situation where he's in double coverage and you're trying to force the ball? That's not Tom Brady. I think they'll be able to work it out. So Brown definitely could be in this game today, especially with Godwin still not 100%. But you can see once again the effect of him in this offense in the slot. He still poses a mismatch nightmare, right, Phil?
Yeah, and there's some silver lining to possibly giving Mike Evans those 50-50 chances. Jameis Winston did it for 5 years and he racked up over 1,000 yards in those 5 years. But the good thing about Mike Evans is usually when he's in those 50-50 balls, he's got that tight man coverage, usually pulls a PI, okay? Because such a big-bodied receiver that those smaller cornerbacks have a hard time trying to play the ball off of him. So they end up playing Mike Evans instead of the ball. So that could be something you could look at here. Tom Brady's really smart when he sees stuff like that. And, most NFL quarterbacks are starting quarterbacks. They see the matchups there. They know it could possibly be a pass interference. So let me throw the ball there, try to get us some free yards, move down the field. So that's something you can see today with Mike Evans.
No, absolutely. You think Evans pops off today? Evans is going to pop off today?
I think he pops off
yeah?
today.
Okay.
I think he comes through big time.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Misador says, what's up? What's going on? Defense needs to be ready and working together. Let's see here. We need to push the pace in this game. We need to have our own running game going. Anthony says pass rush has to keep Teddy off the field. We have to run the ball today. You know what Bridgewater is so good at here, Cedric and Phil, is the fact of not turning over the ball, but consequently in the first matchup, you force him into 2 interceptions by Carlton Davis, who's a little bit banged up today, Jordan Whitehead. So that's what you got to really do, because Bridgewater is so good at taking care of the ball. But if you force him into those situations, you can really capitalize on those opportunities, much like he did in week 2.
Yeah, I think Tom Brady. Teddy Bridgewater, I think he has 6 interceptions on the season, and 2 of those coming in week 2. So go with what works. Okay?
I believe he also lost the fumble in that game.
And he did lose a
fumble.
fumble.
They had 4 turnovers to 2. Yes.
Go with what works. Okay. We saw that worked, that hard press man coverage and getting the pressure there with the blitz on Teddy Bridgewater, not giving him a lot of time to really set up his throw. Do the same thing. The blueprint's laid out already. You already done it. All right. Go back to it. All right. Carlton Davis, I think, is going to have a big game in this game also, especially covering Robbie Anderson on the outside. So I'll be watching for him for another pick.
Panthers offensive line, not very good in the first matchup. 5 sacks. Of course, we talked about the 4 turnovers. Do you think this could be a big game by Shaq Barrett in the JPP? And you have to have that big game because, like we talked about, Bridgewater doesn't turn over the ball, but he will if you pressure him. Do you see that happening today?
I definitely see that happening. And what's going to help excel that performance from our defense
There you
is
go.
going to be the offense getting a lead.
Right.
That is going to change your offense coordinator's mentality towards coming at the Bucs. If they're playing from behind, defense will be able to capitalize off mistakes.
Exactly.
Be able to capitalize off that offense being rushed and
Right.
feeling the anxiety of trying to catch up.
That's what that you mentioned a great point here, Cedric, because you're down 21-0 in the first half, guys, and basically you're not able to get set. You have 5 3-and-outs. You have a turnover early. Your defense is not able to get off the field. What the Bucs do best is when they get up, then you can start to blitz. Then you can start to bring some of those exotic packages. But if you come out and have a slow start again and you're down 14-0, I get it. The Bucs have the weaponry, but you really don't want to get into that hole and having to come back and put your defense in those situations. I mean, they're good, but you don't want them to be down 21-0 or 14-0 and have to make a play. You want to get out to a lead. You want to be able to run the ball, control the clock, and then on top of it, let your defense pin their ears back and go after the quarterback and call some of those turnovers.
It's exactly what the Saints did to us
Yep.
last week.
Yep. Exactly. Good stuff.
I'm gonna see you guys later. I'm
all
gonna
right.
cook some wings, get this game going. I'm gonna bring Ray back, and I appreciate sitting around with you guys. I do
Absolutely.
appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
It's been a
Appreciate
fun
you.
season so far. We're
Yes.
halfway through. Let's make the second half bomb.
All right. Sounds good. There you go. Cedric Robinson, GM of the Deck Bar and Grill. If you're not out here, where are you at? At home with your finger up your nose? I don't know what you're doing, but you should be out here. We're getting you ready as Bucs Report. Bucs versus the Panthers. What do you think? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Like I said, it's the Sports Web, powered by 320solar.com. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with our editor-in-chief, one of the best chefs out there, Mr. Philip Schwegler. I get his name right all the time. I keep on doing that. Mr. Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, my co-host of the Sports Web. I pat him on the shoulder because...
Let me tell you guys.
Yes.
I had a couple of good stories this week, Phil, so I owe it to you because he's the man with the plan, and he can take my writing, my train of thoughts that is like...
Which sometimes can be a train wreck.
Yes. and Schwags can put it, he puts it in there, he puts it in a little bit, thanks, Phil. He puts it all together, and he makes it comprehensible, and I had a nice story this week. I had over 1,000 reads on it. I want to take this moment to thank all of our Bucs Report followers because it's such a privilege to be able to cover the Bucs for you, to be able to be down here at the Deck Bar and Grill, to bring you, especially in a COVID-19 2020. We're here for you. We want to get this celebration started. And thank you for all of your support on the reading and supporting us as we continue to build this brand. Because, guys, we're having fun together here, but the fun we're having is because we're having fun for all Buck fans everywhere. And we want to thank you very much.
I agree. I absolutely agree. We're all having fun here. And I think the best is yet to come. Absolutely. All right. I'll tell you what, you like that? That's good. All right, let's go out to Mr. Blake Anthony here on his breakdown, and then we'll get back to the webheads here. Of course, you can text and call in, but he had a great breakdown of the offensive line and the miscommunications, the breakdowns that definitely caused a lot of chaos in that game versus the Saints, as, of course, the Bucs lost 38-3. So we'll hear from Blake Anthony. Television. Enjoy.
On this first play here of the few I'm going to show, Donovan Smith gets help from Leonard Fournette on the chip on the outside, along with Joe Haig, Alex Kappa, and Ryan Jensen. All got to handle the stunt coming from the 2 D tackles on the inside, while leaving Tristan Wirfs, our young first-round pick, one-on-one with Cameron Jordan, which you'll later see. He gets manhandled by Tristan Wirfs. Kappa doesn't turn his head in time and see the guy beat Jensen on the inside, and Kappa thinks he's got to help Wirfs. Wirfs is handling, and D tackle number 93 ends up getting the initial pressure, while Henderson ends up finishing with the sack, one of Donovan Smith's few sacks given up that night. So let's check out this next play. Hendrickson's on Smith again. Cameron Jordan is in a wide 9. They're both in a wide 9 here. And at first, I didn't realize what this was, but this was a stunt by the outside rushers. And I'll explain later. But D. Smith has got good feet sliding. At this point, right here, his base is too big, and he's committing to his punch. And Henderson already is ready to beat Donovan Smith because he's out of position. Cameron Jordan takes an inside rush to force Brady outside of the pocket. Then Hendrickson is able to loop around and then make the sack on Brady. I also like the fact that Hendrickson stands over Brady, and Ryan Jensen doesn't allow him to celebrate over Brady's head and pushes him as well. But it's another poor play by the offensive line. This is a pretty simple one. Fournette has outside protection. Both defenders on the left side of the offensive line take an inside move once Brady's in the pocket, beat their offensive lineman inside, and Trey Hendrickson is able to get a sack on Brady and force a sack fumble. I got to end it with something good. On this particular play, Tyler Johnson shows you he has heart. An offensive line block this great, leaves Rojo with one guy to beat. Tyler Johnson obliterates Malcolm Jenkins. Good God. But Rojo gets stuffed by the bigger defender into Mario Davis and is sadly held short of the 1 yard line of a goal line and a touchdown.
And that's why you can see the change today. Welcome back to the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television. I'm your host, Peter Blake, live from the Deck Bar and Grill, along with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay, Cup of Ray, our editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwagler. You look at that film breakdown once again.
I get pissed.
I mean, you really do.
You motion a wide receiver to the inside to pick up a block that the offensive line can't get from the get-go, and that's your move. That's your power move from the 1 yard line. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, the jumbo package, maybe, as you would say there.
Or maybe, an extra jumbo package, maybe an extra tight end, maybe a fullback, maybe you put one of the tight ends at fullback, but you bring Tyler Johnson in and Blake's right, hats off, great block, picks up Jenkins and hits him hard, but that's your plan, and then they've got 5 guys immediately in the hole.
And then after that, and you could see it wasn't just Donovan Smith, it was Joe Haig. He was absolutely getting killed, and you could see why you go with the Jensen at the left guard spot and an AQ Shipley at the center position.
Yeah, you really start to see, especially in this game last week, and I hate to keep going back to this game because we have a great matchup today, but
right?
You have to. Is having the continuity on the offensive line, having all those guys, all the same players play together throughout the whole year, because it will throw off chemistry, okay? Because you're not sure if the stunt's going on over here with the defensive end or the defensive tackle, if he's going to be able to pick it up, because you've been working together for so long. You can feel that the guy's going to cover it down.
Sure.
And you saw that with how the bigger defender came in on Ronald Jones there, and they missed the block there in the gaps.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is a little known secret. Many people don't know this, but I learned this at 10 years old when I was playing Pee Wee football. If you want to be the offensive line and you want to dictate the play, then go out there and kick their butt. I mean, you're right. Stunts are going to be there. But if the offensive line is pushing, in that one play, Donovan Smith backs up and looks like he's inviting someone into his love bed. I mean, he's literally opening up, going, come in. He's a swinging door. He's a screen door on
He really is. He really is. But I don't believe it's all his fault. And maybe we kind of discounted how great Ali Marpet was and how much he meant to the offensive line.
Yeah. Ali Marpet has allowed 7 total pressures the entire year so far. Joe Haig allowed 7 pressures on Sunday night.
And people were calling for Haig to start at left tackle. That's the reason why he's not starting in the league anymore.
As much as Donovan Smith gets his butt kicked, continuity is the biggest thing that will either kill or help the offensive line succeed.
How impressive!
You know what? But go ahead and make sure you bring your wide receivers in to pick up those blitzing holes and open holes.
Well, they did that last year with Chris Godwin. They do the crackback blocks. They go and they have their wide receivers. That's why they want the physicality.
If there's any kind of push, it actually helps.
Sure, but there was no
push.
push, and then you stop running the ball altogether. You throw the ball 3 times, and it's not even close. God. I mean, that's when you knew when you get to the 1 yard line against the Saints, the game is over, because the play calling, basically the attitude, like you said, the attitude has to be, I'm going to come and kick your ass and put you on the ground. And the Bucs didn't have that attitude last week throughout the whole game. There was never any momentum. They couldn't get started. They have to get out to a fast start today. They have to have an attitude where they are a 6-3 team, not a 3-6 team like the Carolina Panthers.
You just said it all right there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay.
I would like to see Tampa Bay on their first offensive drive go no huddle.
Start no huddle.
The tempo early.
Right.
That's what they need to do. Take control. Say, hey, Panthers, I know you watched that game last week against the Saints, but that ain't us no more. Okay, we're gonna come out, we're gonna punch you in the mouth at the beginning. We're gonna put up 7 on the board before you can even.
I had a good guy last night. Pat Searcy came on Cup of Ray with Harry the Greek and myself, and I love what he said because he put it all in a nutshell for me. He said, "I'd like to see the Bucs come out on the first drive and run the ball every play.
Just pound them. Just absolutely pound them into submission.
Get some success there.
Right. And then but here's the thing. When you're gaining yards on first and second down, and I get it, some people say, well, you can't run on every first down. You're exactly right. But if you're getting 4, 5, 6 yards.
Why not?
Right. You cut down on those opportunities of, what do we talk about? The third down conversions. 1 for 9 last week, guys. That's not going to get it done. No. You got to stay out of those ridiculous situations where the long 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, because if you do, then basically you become one-dimensional. It takes your running game out. If you're 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 3, then you can open up that playbook. You can either run or pass.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for this game in particular is going to be field position. Okay, the Buccaneers have not had great field position in some of these closer games, especially the 3 losses that they've had.
Yeah,
they can't be starting, on the outside of their 20-yard line. They got to start starting at the 25 to 30. Really get some pushback from maybe the punt returns or maybe the kickoff returns. Set the team up to succeed in the beginning.
And to me, the Bucs really have a sweetheart matchup, a cupcake matchup, if you will. You're a college football fan. 9 sacks the Panthers have had all year long. So if this offensive line struggles, they are what they are, because next week you got Aaron Donald. And look, this line did a good job of versus Aaron Donald last year.
Yeah.
But if you don't do a good job against this team, how in the world can I expect you to do it against Donald next week on Monday Night Football?
Well, I tell you one thing. We've got to see him have that success against this Carolina Panthers team, a younger defensive line, not the strength inside those Rams. But you guys, again, I'm going to say it for the umpteenth time. We've got to see better play calling and a better offensive identity. Because what's
the identity? Chris Collinsworth was saying this is a power running team. Do we think this is a power running team with 5 rushes?
Maybe week 2 when not Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette ran for over 100 yards.
Well, you could say Ronald Jones, running for 3 straight 100 yards. That's a power running team. A power running team is not a team that runs 5 total times.
Jesus Christ, the ones that kneel down. Hey, and let me tell you,
from your favorite quarterback, Blaine Gabbert, who you are the personal member of the Blaine Gabbert fan club.
I am.
I know you've got a poster on your wall.
Now let me ask you guys.
Look up at every night.
You made me forget what I was. No, I was going to ask.
Starbright.
First star I see tonight. Whoa, old timer.
What happened? I didn't say anything.
My favorite.
Would you shut up and be quiet?
My favorite Bucs.
The old guy's trying to talk.
I feel like I'm getting older listening to you guys.
Tom Blanchard. Or Reggie Roby for a cup of coffee here. Tom Blanchard was the Bucs' original punter.
Oh,
it's all.
What year?
How many years ago was that?
Well, the reason why I bring this up. The reason why I bring this up is have anybody? I'm putting you guys on the spot. Remember, we had Pinion had that green. It looked like
he was terrible last week.
Did we hear anything about him this week? I haven't heard anything.
I've not heard anything. I just think he needs to improve on his punts.
Well, Phil made the point.
Stop shaking him.
Well, Phil made the point that field position is important, and he also handles our kickoffs. So,
right.
I'd like to see AB returning punts. And then maybe even out there for a kickoff, even it means they're going to go away from him and just kick it to the back of the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
But we also don't forget, we have one of the top 3 kickers in the NFC. Well, he was until he got a chance to kick any last week, but one. And then we also have Bradley Pinion, who is actually a pretty fantastic punter.
Led the league last year in the heck is it called? Kick the ball in the back of the end zone on the kickoff.
Yes.
Touchbacks.
There you go. Good stuff.
Did he really lead the league?
Very
good.
Led
the league last year.
You're getting old with us. See, you're starting to forget things. It's rubbing off on you. There you go. I don't know what you just said.
Never gonna get.
Never gonna get it. Never gonna get it. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here live on I don't know what this is, the Sports Web from the Deck Bar and Grill. Sorry, sponsors. We got the editor-in-chief, Philip Schwegler, here with the best shots. Will you shut up? Ray Kennedy. I love this guy. I love doing shows with this guy right here. All right, let's talk about last week. Mike Evans, 4 catches, 64 yards, but in the previous matchup versus the Panthers, 7 catches, 104 yards, 1 touchdown, including the 50-yarder, which kind of set the tone. And Leo even said it. It was a time where Brady and Evans recognized cover 2. You've got to think there could be a play in this game early, hopefully, where it sets the tone. It kind of settles your offense down in the game. Brady was 23 for 35, 217, 1 touchdown, of course, had 1 interception to Dante Jackson. But to me, I just feel like Evans is going to break out today in big fashion.
I see one Evans, and I'm not just saying this because you just said that, Peter. I see at least one 50-yard or greater.
Yeah,
because we've seen Tom and him almost hooked up earlier in the season a couple of times on some deep balls, just overthrown, just out of reach. Don't forget, we kid about Mike Evans being a jump 50-50 catcher or a point of attack. But this guy's got elusive speed, and if they run the right route today, but something that week 2, that big passes we had with Evans in week 2 were also predicated upon that century 100 yards that Leonard Fournette had. Again, get the run so that play action can get that defense froze just for a half second. You can throw it to whoever you want to.
Yeah, what concerns me, Phil, about this matchup is the cornerback situation. Already Davis is banged up. In the first matchup, DJ Moore, 8 for 120. You had Robbie Anderson, 9 for 109 yards. Mike Davis, who's the starting running back today, also had 8 for 74. Bridgewater threw for 367. Again, had the 2 interceptions in that game. That's what you got to do. But still, the complimentary wide receivers, and we won't even talk about Curtis Samuel, who's been going off lately. If you have him on a fantasy team, you got to put him in your lineup, not like myself. So do you think that this back end of the defense can handle their own today versus the Panthers?
You really hope that they can. Okay,
Yeah.
definitely looking at the 2 safeties there in Winfield Jr. and Jordan Whitehead, being able to communicate and understanding where your responsibilities are. Okay, Jamel Dean gets beat in the outside. Who's the backside coverage? You got to be able to stay on the same page with everybody. So I'm looking at Jamel Dean. You got to come back with a good game. Sean Murphy Bunting, same thing. I still think Carlton Davis is playing at a really good Pro Bowl level. If you look at the actual statistics and everything that they break down for PFF or whatever, Carlton Davis still hasn't allowed more than 60. I think it's like 64 yards.
4 interceptions on the season. I mean, he's been everywhere. And, of course, you have to thank Shaq Barrett, who has an opportunity today to go off. I'll tell you what, let's go out to BA, his comments on what he thinks this team will be prepared for against the Panthers and coming back here on the Evolution Sports Talk Television. Enjoy.
Yeah, I think we have great leadership. And when you have real good leadership, very seldom will you ever lose 2 in a row. And we've always preached that to our guys. And, this week of practice has been outstanding, just as if when we won the last ball game. So the one thing I can never complain about our guys' work ethic, attention to detail has been outstanding. I would anticipate them to bounce back pretty good.
All right, there you go. And you got to hope that they do bounce back pretty good. And he talked about it's leadership. It's a guy like a Tom Brady. It's a guy like a Rob Gronkowski, a JPP, even a Shaq Barrett, a Devin White, a Levante David. It's those leadership guys in the locker room that are going to hold those players accountable when they get out of line, when they're not doing their job. And that is the reason why you have to be excited about this Bucs team. They're so talented, but they have leadership here, and you feel like they're not going to lose 2 in a row. They're going to be able to come back because of that.
Yeah, good teams don't lose twice, like he was basically just saying. And they haven't done that this year. They lost 1 game, won 3 games. What I'm saying? They kind of got this pattern going on right now. Going 3-1 in 1 quarter of the season is really good. It gets you theoretically into the playoffs.
Right.
Not,
Right.
So that's what we need to see. You see the leaders stand up. Hey, stay focused. We got this. Let's go in here and let's play Buccaneers football. Not that crap that happened last week. Not that crap that happened the week before with the freaking Giants. Playing Buccaneers football, strong-nosed defense, and pushing the ball down the field.
And how is it amazing where BA is talking about 2 in a row? You can equate this to other sports. You have the Tampa Bay Lightning really never lost 2 in a row this year, and the result of that is the Stanley Cup. You have the Tampa Bay Rays getting so far, not losing 2 in a row, and then when they finally do, then it's curtains for them. So to me, that's the key, the consistency factor. Of course, the leader standing up and doing what they need to do. Do you think they do that today?
Oh, definitely. And I think that we're still talking about that secondary, and we're talking about Carlton Davis and the possibility with the injury. Guys, I'm not saying Davis is not a talented running back filling in for the injured McCaffrey, but he's not Alvin Kamara. But you still got to watch him. You still got to make him honest.
He's tough.
But he's tough. But
he's tough.
I still think that Devin and Levante can have the type of game today.
Sure.
Wreaking havoc in the middle there, that they're going to allow a little bit more flexibility in a secondary because they'll apply pressure to Teddy Bridgewater. But on the same token, or on the other side of the coin, he's a little more mobile, Bridgewater is, than Breeze. So you got to watch that too. But you got to have that defense, somebody shadowing Bridgewater, keeping an eye on Davis out of the backfield, but still get the pressure so that the back end doesn't get as bad burnt like they did last week.
And you kind of wonder if they use some of the stuff that the Giants used and some of the stuff that the Saints use with the quick passing. Do you think they'll be ready for it?
I mean, they're going to try to do something. All right. There's a blueprint out there right now. How to beat
we
the
know they're going
Buccaneers.
to try to do something.
they're going to do what other teams have had success against
Very
the Buccaneers, but the Buccaneers need to come out and play man-to-man coverage, roll the blitz out, take Teddy Bridgewater off his back foot, or let him throw off his back foot
Yes.
with all the pressure coming.
All right, we got 10 minutes until game time. Let's read the rest of these comments. So pass rush has to keep Teddy off the field. We have to run the ball today. Phil says, let's show Evans some love today. OL, keep Brady off the ground. Misador says, what's up? Connie says, Gene absolutely killed it today. Go Bucs, says Corey. Corey again, Bucs fan here in Nashville. I thought they were the Vols when I was younger with the creamsicle and white. It stuck. Good stuff. Fox just said the Bucs are embarrassed, pissed off from last week. Expect them to come out fired up. I like it. Gene says sacks are sexy, but pressures are just as good. I like it. Wow. Shots fired. Let's see. We talked about the number, giving it out. Lord Byron needs to get creative. Milo, I like to see a flea flicker first play of the game for the Bucs. Go Gators, says Eugene. Goodness gracious. I'm going to go ahead and have to do this to you. All right, O-line, D-line needs to play better than last week because that was pitiful. Absolutely. The dude is next. We had him on already. Pocket pool. If the Panthers lean on CMC this week, they're in trouble since he's not playing. Well, they haven't. That was in the breakdown, but he is not playing, so that is definitely a break for the Bucs, in my opinion. Let's go, Bucs, says Matthew. AQ, absolutely. Answered question. That's always good. Here's my agent here, a.k.a. my beautiful mother. Sandra Nagel watching the best talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web of Bucs Report. Hope they play better today. And when you have your mom contacting you saying what's going on and you have no answer for her to say, I have no idea, and she gets mad at you, damn it, I want to see a good game today by the Bucs, so I don't have to get that text message. Love you, Mom, but definitely don't want you to be angry at me because there's nothing I can do about it.
Damn it, Jim.
Will you shut up? Just run the damn ball, says Harold. Very easy. There you go. This is a different Panthers team from last time we played them. We'll see. Bucs will lose. Elbow cough, says Reapy. I don't know who the hell that is, but okay. Bucs lose, says Roger Shue. You're a troll. Just get the W. Missed the feeling already. Let's show everyone we are true contender. Just smash the Panthers. Get the run going. Get Chris Brown. I thought you said Chris Brown. Brown, some catches. The D, get some good rushes. Will be that Buccaneer team we all want them to be. Let's see here. Harold says, I hope we play the Saints in the playoffs. Still not over that loss last week. Ron says, and thank you very much for your service. Hoorah, Devil Dog, back to even ball distribution, run and set the tone early. And Ben says, love the show from Hanford, California. Thank you guys all around the world. What is the evolution of sports talk television? Is it a TV show? Is it a radio show? It's both. It's the opportunity for web heads, for fans like yourself to text, to call in when you want to. Of course, it's been crickets this morning, but that's okay. I understand it. We'll get you at the post-game edition. We got about 7 minutes until game time. Your prediction, Bucs win and why, or Bucs lose and why? Philip Schwegler.
It's going to be a long day if you say lose, Phil.
Yes.
Yeah, Tom Brady don't lose twice. All right, I'm just saying it right now. Tom Brady, look at the historical figures, whatever, comes back after a bad loss. Buccaneers 28, Carolina Panthers 21. Will Golston is going to have a big game for defense. Watch that.
And also had a sack in that game in the first matchup. Very good call there. Both of the guards for the Panthers very weak according to Pro Football Focus, so that's definitely a matchup to watch. And, of course, Sue in that previous game had 2 sacks. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. Cup of Ray, what do you say? Who's going to win?
35-17, Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go 7-3, and the Saints. I can't say lose to the 49ers, but I'm rooting for it. Well, that'd be great.
Absolutely. The Bucs will definitely keep into the thick of it. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I predicted 31-17. I'm going to go with the dude, okay? 34-17, Tampa Bay. Look for the victim of volume, Ronald Jones to rush for over 100 yards today. Mike Evans to also have a big game, and that Saints loss to be in the rearview mirror. And like I said, when the Bucs beat those Panthers, all you fans out there that jumped off that bandwagon, I'm going to be trolling that ass on the post-game edition of the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television, powered by 320solar.com. All right, guys. We ready to go? We ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right, for the great Philip Schwegler, our editor-in-chief of Bucs Report, for Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, Best of the Bay, for, of course, Harry the Greek. And yes, get in here really quick here. Thanks a lot for coming on for you. Again, give your prediction real quick.
Close game in the first half. Bucs should win the game 24. Ready? 18. They're going to cover the spread.
All right, 24-18. Like I said, I'm your host, Peter Blake. Go Bucs and enjoy the game, and definitely tune in to the halftime show live from the Deck Bar and Grill. See you later.
Just because I let it slide doesn't mean it isn't pulling on my heart until it's almost white. 'Cause I wanna let you feel strong.
Power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up.